So the first email style is the controlling email style. I need to answer emails as soon as they come through, or I have all the anxiety. I need to check email as soon as I wake up, or I have all the anxiety. I constantly have to be on top of it. So this is a controlling style. You're trying to control your inbox and control, all the answers through the entire day. It's like this can't stop, won't stop for email. The second type then is an overwhelmed type. Email's the last thing I want to get to because I get too many a day, which means that I'm hit or miss with my responses. And essentially, I can't be relied on because sometimes I'll respond to you, but sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll only give you half of a response. Sometimes I won't. And I don't hold myself accountable to email. And so I'm just, I'm hit or miss. I can't be relied on. And then the third email style is a scattered email style. So I'm trying to squeeze it in whenever I have a free moment. I'm busy and I'm not checking it, all the time, like someone who's got that controlling style, but I am trying to check it whenever I find pockets of time. So walking to that next meeting, in between conference calls, etc. So a controlling, an overwhelmed, or a scattered mindset. So neither of these is a best practice when used alone. What you want to do is find a happy medium between not answering every email that comes in, getting the emails answered that need to come in, and also being reliable when people communicate to you through email. And so that's my goal for you today, is that these tips will help you when it comes to not only mindset, but then the tools that you're going to use to be reliable, not be over controlling, and not be too scattered. So the first thing that is related to your email um, style is creating personal email rules. So we receive email that's unnecessary, unwanted, unproductive, and unimportant. And that email gets in the way of worthwhile emails. We still have to sort through them. And so what if you had a personal rule about how you dealt with emails that were unimportant or unwanted or unnecessary? And I'm going to keep unpacking this, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Sometimes we perceive email as more urgent than it is. So we don't get our important work done because we think any email we get is urgent. And we don't have personal techniques in place to manage email. And so we get stressed and we get overwhelmed. And so I was trying to brainstorm my personal email rules. So let's take a look at the right of this screen first. So one of my personal email rules is I don't check my work email until I sit down at my desk. I don't check it first thing when I get up in the morning. It's not good for my mindset. I don't want to be frustrated right when I wake up in the morning. I don't want to be frustrated right before I go to bed. And so I check email when I sit down at my desk. Usually that's about 7:45, 8 a.m. And then I give myself 30 minutes to go through email. Sometimes I use all that time. Sometimes I don't. I not only check my work email, my day job email, but I also have a side business. So I check that email at this time too. And then my personal Gmail as well. So I do all three accounts, even though we're only focusing on Outlook today. I do all three accounts when I sit down at my desk. And then I don't do anything else until 11:30 because I work at my best in the mornings. And so if I am answering email between 9 and 11:30, I am losing my most productive hours of the day. When my brain is on fire, I'm most creative, I'm most engaged. That's in the morning for me. I have yet to have a serious emergency that at work where somebody emailed me and I didn't get back to them until 11:30. Okay? So this is just a personal rule I have for myself, and it works really well for me. Now, I do keep my email alerts on throughout the day, but I only answer certain types of emails. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that on a later slide. If I have pockets of time, I will answer quick hit emails. So quick hit emails are emails that take 1 minute or less to answer. Maybe it's an email that you don't even have to answer. You just need to open it and read it because you're CC'd on it, and then you delete it or file it. If you can take an action on that email in 1 minute or less, it's a quick hit email. So if I'm waiting in line to get lunch, I might get 3 quick hit emails off my plate. Okay, so I do check my email at different times, but my rule about that is I only answer quick hit emails. I block time each afternoon to clean up my inbox. So from 4:30 to 5 o'clock every day, or from 4 to 4:30, depending on my day, I block 30 minutes to clean up my inbox. So this is emails that I've missed throughout the day. I go through an important, urgent thought process here. Is this email important, and is it urgent that I respond right now? Usually things are not as urgent as they seem. And so any email that I don't respond to in that 30-minute chunk of time just falls over into my first thing in the morning email check. Okay. Now you may get so much email that you have to do another 30 minutes in the evening before you go to bed. That absolutely is fine. I am just sharing right now the rules that work for me, and you'll need to tweak them based on your job and the amount of email you receive and what kinds of emails you receive. Another personal rule of mine is I only touch emails once. So some emails I see come up in my inbox, and based on the subject or the sender, I don't even touch it. It just stays unread until I have the time. If I read an email, I try my darndest to take action on it in that moment when I read it and get rid of it. Okay, we're going to talk more about what get rid of it means. So over here on the left, I have brainstormed some questions for you to start creating your own personal email rules. So when do you work at your best versus what's your laziest part of the day? I'm pretty lazy in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, so that's when I do email inbox cleanup. That's when I answer other emails, because I don't want to use my brain at that point to design a webinar or to, input XYZ on a spreadsheet. And so answering email for me is very logical to do at 4 o'clock. You've got to make a personal rule about cleaning up your inbox. So I practice a version of inbox zero where I never let my inbox scroll. So that means I have about 12 or less emails that sit in my inbox. So if I have to scroll down on my main Outlook page in order to see emails, I've got too many emails in my inbox. Now my brain is cluttered because I can't, filter through every one to try to find the one I need. Think about times of day when you don't have to check email, when people don't need you. Is it between 12 and 2? Do you need to take lunch at a different time so you can shut email off from 12 to 2, or shut your brain off from 12 to 2 and get some really good work done? If you have pockets of time in the day where people are not going to expect you to be, Johnny on the spot when it comes to answering an email, then it is a great idea to schedule when you check email around that. And then what's your personal rule for how long an email sits in your inbox? So I have a 24-hour response time. So I try to get back to people within 24 hours, but sometimes it's 48. And I also only let emails sit in my inbox 1 week. So if in 1 week I haven't done anything with it, then I'm deleting it, because obviously it's not that important. If it's an FYI email, it's going to my FYI folder. And then what kind of emails do you file versus delete? So we're going to talk more about that too. Now, here's the thing. I am not perfect with email, okay? So I consider this rules I follow 80% of the time. I got to give myself a break sometimes. Sometimes a week gets crazy. Sometimes there's crazy madness going on. There's some type of business emergency, and I have to be Johnny on the spot with certain emails, okay? So yes, these are my personal email rules, but I do give myself the bandwidth to break them when the business calls for it. The thing about personal email rules is that this is the only way you are really going to change your mindset, because you're committing to something for yourself. So think about it with your New Year's resolution and how you say, I'm just going to work out more. Okay, great. I bet if your resolution is to just work out more or to just lose weight, then by the end of January, you've already lost the resolution. It's the same thing with email. If you say after today's webinar, I'm going to be more productive, okay, I bet you fall back into your old habits and your old ways in 2 weeks. So these personal rules are ways to keep yourself on track, right? They're mini goals. So if the overall goal is to be productive, then my first mini goal is I only check email twice in the morning, about 7:45 a.m. and at 11:30 a.m. I only touch emails once. That helps me stay at inbox zero. So you can see where I'm going with this. These personal rules, super duper helpful. Most of the emails we receive every day are clutter. They clutter our brain, they clutter our inbox, they weigh down our productivity. Consider these rocks. A lot of the emails that you get are rocks. They're either mailing lists that you signed up for, and instead of taking an extra 15 seconds to unsubscribe, you just hit delete every time. They're emails that people CC you on because maybe they think you should know, they don't know if you should, or You legitimately do need to know, but it's not something that has to be read right away. There are emails from vendors who found you on LinkedIn and are reaching out to you to sell their product. The majority of emails we receive are clutter, but within that clutter, there are a few gems. I hope everybody saw that animation. I worked really hard on it. Let's do it again. Within that clutter, within those rocks, there are a few gems. And this is the most important piece, because not only do you need to have personal email rules, you need to have rules around your email gems. So if gems are the emails that are most important, how are you making sure those get answered and addressed every single day, and that you're not so weighed down by the clutter that you miss the gems? Okay. So email gems can come from a variety of areas, can come from particular people. So maybe your boss is a gem. So anytime you have an email from your boss, you know you need to check that. You got to check that one in the lunch line. You got to check that one first thing in the morning. Can be on specific subjects. So the project that you're on right now, or I know that I do freelance resume work. And so if a subject comes in where somebody has the word resume in the subject line, that is an email gem for me. And I open it before I open, the weekly newsletter I get from another place, because it might be somebody asking for resume help. It could be an email gem, could be something that holds you accountable. So it is somebody that is checking in with you to see if you've completed your part of a spreadsheet, you've completed your part of the project. Relationships that could suffer. This is a big one that many of us don't think about. Is it going to cause distrust? So is it going to decrease trust between me and this person? Is it going to delay this person's work? Is it going to make them think twice about how valuable I am to this project if I don't answer them? Sometimes an email gem for me is that person that I just need to respond to for their sake. Okay, because I want to show high customer service. I want them to know I can be trusted. I want them to know that I have the answer. And I don't want them to have to wait, because I know if they have to wait, it's going to delay what they're doing. And then obviously an email gem is an urgent situation. So your email gems are how you figure out what is most important to answer, and then when you answer it. So let's go back to my personal rule that I answer emails first thing when I sit down at my desk. I only answer the gems. If I still have in my 30 minutes of time extra time, then I'll go through the clutter. So I'll go through and delete other emails, and I'll read that newsletter. If I find that I haven't read a newsletter in 3 months, I unsubscribe. Obviously, I am not going to read it, so it's additional clutter. Okay. So I only do my gems at my designated email time. So about 7:45, about 11:30, and then at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If it's a quick hit email gem, then I might do it, anytime, because remember, 1 minute or less are quick hits. If it's a quick hit clutter, I might do it at any time. Okay, so there's a lot of balls in the air here with email mindset, and I'm sharing all of this stuff with you not to overcomplicate it, but to let you see all of these different ways that you can start to think about email, and also break it down so it's not just one beast. It's not just an inbox where you're flooded with 100 messages a day, but now it's an inbox that has rocks and has gems in it. And even if you just take that idea and you do some of these Outlook tips on the email gems, then you're still going to be ahead of where you were before we started this webinar today. All right, so now with email mindset, we have talked about the type of email user you are. A controlling, need to do it as soon as I can, because I'm going to have anxiety, or I just need to feel like I'm on top of everything. A overwhelmed email user, because it's the last thing in the world you want to do, or a scattered email user where you try to do it when there's time, but you're squeezing email in sometimes, and then other times you're not. And so you are sometimes answering email, and you're sometimes not. And then we talked about personal rules. So the personal rules can change your email style, so you won't be so scattered or overwhelmed or controlling if you create personal rules. And then we talked about the rocks versus the email gems. So these are all things I'm going to reference as we go into this next segment, which is our segment on Outlook tips. So probably this is the moment all of you have been waiting for, though I hope that the first section of this, which has been about mindset, has actually been pretty helpful. All right, I'm just going to take a quick time out to answer questions. Okay, looks like no questions have come in. Fantastic. All right, so let's incorporate some new Outlook tips into your productivity toolkit. Again, I'm not an expert. If you have a better way that you manage something, throw it in the chat box and I'm happy to read it out loud. I want to learn just as many tips as everybody else here does. So if you have a better way or a different idea, absolutely throw it into the chat box. That would be great. All right, so I've broken this section into two parts. And the first is setup tips. So basics to make it easier to read emails. So these are the set it and forget it tips. So these are the things that you can do today, and then you don't have to touch them again for as long as they keep working for you or until you need to tweak them again. So the first piece is the main screen layout. I use a main screen layout very similar to this one. Actually, I use this main screen layout even though I took this clip art from online because it was kind of tricky with all the emails and whose names do you black out and what subjects do you black out. And so so I was able to snag this one online. So I have a folder tree here on the left. We're going to talk more about that. I have my column widths set so that I can see an almost entire subject and I can see the respondents or the person who's sending it to me. I can see their whole name. That helps my productivity because that is my first layer of should I respond. I look at the subject and I look at the person's name. I have the reading pane on the, well, I go back and forth between this. I have the reader pane on the bottom sometimes, and sometimes I have it over on the right. It just depends on if I'm on my laptop or if I'm on dual screen monitors. And then if I have a really busy day, I'll put my reading pane on the bottom and put my calendar on the right. Okay, so let me make sure. I think I have a pop-up here. Yep. So if you want to reorganize your reading pane, then you're going to click on the View tab. So in the second picture at the bottom, you're going to click on the View tab. And over on the right where you see the circle, Reading pane. So you can change options about your folder pane and your to-do bar. I'm not going to go through those yet or today, but the reading pane is where you can have your calendar on the same page as your emails. And you can have your reading pane on the bottom or the right or the left. So you might like it on the left. I like mine on the right. Okay, so your main email screen layout is super important. I want to see the sender, I want to see the subject, and I want to be able to read it. That is another way an email is a quick hit for me. If I'm at my desk and I've got both my monitors up, then a quick hit that might take me a full minute on my phone is only going to take me 25 seconds on my computer because I don't even have to double click to read the email because it's already on my reading pane. So I try to answer more emails at my desk than I do my phone because I found it makes me more productive. Okay, this one is another set it and forget it, and this is organizing with folders. So here's the thing about organizing with folders. Folders aren't for everybody. Complex folders aren't for everybody. You might, excuse me, you might do really well with a complex folder system, much like this one that you see here on the left. You might need a really basic folder system that has folders like FYI emails, emails that I need to respond to, emails that come from a certain person. So your folder system can only be as complex as you can handle. So I have often tried to make too many folders and then I file emails and then I can't find them. So I'm the kind of person that has a very simple folder system. So simple that this one in this picture is a little complex for me. But you may do really well with complexity. The process to create folders, you can do it one of two ways. Up here at the top in the ribbon, you click New Folder. Okay, or if you just right click in the folders section, then the menu that comes up, you choose new folder, and then you can rename, copy, move, delete, etc. Okay, you can even have a favorites section. Folders are how I keep my inbox as close to inbox zero as normal. So without folders, you're going to be doing one of two things with an email. You're going to be deleting it, or you're going to be archiving it. We're going to talk about that as well. So if you don't have folders, then you're either deleting or archiving emails, and that could get really clunky. So I highly, highly recommend folders as a way to organize your email and not have so many emails clutter your inbox. Here we go. Okay, so this is one that I want to spend just a little bit of time on. So I attempted to make some videos for our session so that I wasn't going back and forth between email and the PowerPoint. So we're gonna cross our fingers and toes that this works. So you may not know that you can color code emails in Outlook. And I use color coding to color code my gems. So I don't leave my Outlook screen open all the time on my computer. So someone threw a question in here and said, sometimes having the reading pane is distracting. It will make you read the email anyway. You are absolutely right. I keep email minimized. So I only bring it up when I'm ready to start reading emails, which is why the reading pane is really good for me. Otherwise, it's minimized on my desktop and I'm not even seeing it while I'm working. Okay, I keep my alerts on because sometimes there are emails that come through that I need to know about. Sometimes I turn my alerts off. So I color code the gems. So this is really helpful for emails from certain people, emails about specific subjects, emails with certain people included. And I want to show you how to do that. So I made a video, but I forgot to include how you even get to the color coding section. So in the View tab, you choose View Settings. Okay, so under View Settings, let's see if this works. You click on Conditional Formatting, then you add a rule. So I am going to make a rule for emails from Jill. So you can type in the email address. Here I'm just going to the global address book and I'm finding this person. And then I'm going to font. So now I'm just going to choose something really crazy so that it shows up and you can see, okay? Please don't ever use this font. That would make it way too hard to read, right? But you can choose any font you want. And then when I click OK, any email from Jill now shows up in this purple font. Okay, so if you are a visual learner, this is perfect for helping you understand your gems. I have worked with administrative assistants who manage more than one leader who color code. One leader is green, one leader is red, and it just helps them. Okay, in this 15 minutes, I'm only going to focus on the things from Tess. In this 15 minutes, I'm only going to focus on the things from Jill. The color coding helps with that. I want to show this again so that you can see it. So remember, hold on, let me back up. Remember I'm too good with my video. Let's see if I can. Okay, here we go. So the first thing you're going to do is click the View tab and click View Settings. That's where this video picks up, is at View Settings, okay? All right. So when you click View, there we go. When you click View Settings, this screen comes up and you click Conditional Formatting, and then you add a rule. Now, I'm just adding this rule based on a person. You can do it based on the subject field, a word that's in it, who it was sent to. Then I'm adding the person because since this is a gem based on a specific person. And you click OK. And then you go to font and you change your font. And so again, you can choose any font, and then once you make the rule, there we go. So now you all see I had 3 emails in my inbox from Jill. That is an instant indicator that I have 3 gems versus me having to take an extra 3 seconds to read. And you might think, well, Tess, that's not a big deal. Well, if you have 1,000 emails in your inbox or you get emails from Jill all the time, it actually is a big deal. And saving seconds on 1 to 2 tasks really adds up over time. It also just makes you more sane. And I don't know about you, but like I can take any amount of extra sanity that I can get on a daily basis. Okay, so I did, can you color code folders also? You know what? I don't know. Does anybody know if you can color code folders? I don't think you can. I've not tried to try that out, but I think the way that Outlook is set up, you can't do that. That would be great. I would love to be able to color code folders. I love different colors. Okay, so color coding the gems is another set it and forget it, right? So once you set up the color coding, it's just there until you take it off. And then here's the last set it and forget it, creating rules. So here's my folder structure on the left. So you can see that I do a few things with my folders. I have 2 main folders, OD stuff and talent development, and this is at my day job, and I have one labeled number 1 and then number 2 because the folders will alphabetize. So I use numbers and letters to keep them in a certain order. And then under OD stuff, I have 5 things: 2018 classes, engagement survey, leadership videos, culture ambassador, and previous trainings. I forgot a letter there. Some of those are nested, so they have a few other folders. And then I have a stuff to save, which is just something I throw other things in. So my folder system, I primarily just put things into OD stuff or talent development. I only will put it into a specific folder if the subject or the person aligns with it. So if I have an email specifically about DISC, I put it into a DISC folder because that is a gem for me and something that I have to be sure I pay attention to at my day job. I want to point you down here to the calendar accepts and the workday emails folders. So these are automated rules that I have set up that anytime I get an email with the word accept in the subject or the word workday in the subject, it bypasses my inbox completely and it goes to a calendar accept or a workday email folder. So calendar accepts are when you send out an invite and people click accept. Here's the thing. I send out tons of invites at my day job, especially invites for trainings, invites for large groups of people, and those accepts clog my inbox. I have been using this rule for probably 4 years now, and I have never once had a calendar accept that I needed to see. So I check this periodically to see if somebody's put a message in there, but it really has never been an issue. And so anytime somebody accepts a meeting invite, it just automatically gets thrown into that folder. If someone declines it, that's what comes to my inbox because that's the gem I need to see. The accept is just clutter. Workday emails, Workday is a system we use on my team, and there's a lot of automated emails that come from Workday. They are necessary, but they don't need to clog my inbox. I check these twice a week. So, and I don't really have a set rule for when I open it. I just try to do it when I think about it, but I do it twice a week in order to make sure there isn't anything big. Mostly it's just clutter, but it's a necessary evil. So that's why I have a rule set up for it. So here's another video. I'm going to show you an easy way to set up a rule. If you look at this email that's currently in my inbox from the Learning blog, you can see that this is a newsletter that I'm obviously getting, and I probably sometimes read because it's showing up in my inbox. And so we're going to create a rule for this that it goes to its own folder. So let's watch. Here we're going to click on the email. We're going to right click. And we're just going to scroll down to rules. Always move messages from feed blitz, so I can just do that easy rule, or I can choose create rule. So here are some of my options: from feed blitz, or subject contains this, or sent to whoever. and then move to a folder. Then you click OK. Says I've created the rule. Great. And so now any email from this point on will go into the new folder. So let's show that one more time, because one of the things I didn't mention is that you want to make the folder first. So if I want to move anything from Feed Blitz into a certain folder, then I need to already have that folder created. And remember, you can just right click and choose new folder to create a folder. So let's look at this rule one more time. I don't set up rules without there's a way that you can set up rules where you click on the rules option in that top ribbon, but that requires me to like think through. I have to use a lot of brain power to do that. Well, who do I get a lot of emails from, or what is this email, going to be about that I might not need to see? And so instead, I kind of do a set it and forget it in the moment. So again, I wait until the email comes in, and then I right click. Let's see if we can do that again. So then I right click and I go to rules, and I can just choose the one that Outlook makes for me, or I can create my own. I can create it based on from or subject or sent to me only, or sent to certain people. There's a way that you can create a rule for any email that you are copied on. It goes to a certain folder. I work with somebody who does that. That folder sits at the top of their inbox, and they just know once a day, at the end of the day, they check all emails that they've been copied on. Because they're the leader of a very large team, they get copied on a lot of stuff. So creating rules is really helpful, because once you do it, it is a set it and forget it. All right, so those are our 4 Outlook tips in the set it and forget it section. And again, those were your main screen layout, organizing with folders, color coding the gems, and creating rules. Now let's go to the second part of our tips section, and that is daily management tips. So I call this the stuff that keeps you sane, because these are things I find myself doing in the moment. Before we jump into this, can you create rules for emails that you have received in the past? Remember, creating rules take effect from now on. If the email, this is the way I understand it, if the email is in your inbox, then when you create the rule, you can say institute rule now, and anything that is in the inbox will move to that folder. If you have taken an action on that email, it's in your archive or your delete, or it's in another folder, then no. But if it is in your email inbox, then yes, it will move. How do you sort out the junk mails, which come from ever-changing addresses and unknown senders? So the thing about Outlook 2016 is that if you're not reading emails, it will automatically put them in your clutter folder. And so if you are getting multiple emails from like Feed Blitz and you're not checking it, it actually goes to your clutter folder over time. Like Outlook's AI technology realizes you're not reading that email. But emails that show up in my inbox, I either just do a quick delete, or I try to unsubscribe as much as I can. If you click and drag it to Clutter, then the next time you get it from that email address, it will go to your Clutter. If you click and drag to Clutter, it helps Outlook understand that you don't want like emails like that in your inbox, and it will start moving emails similar into your Clutter or your junk. Okay, so now I'm just cleaning up my question panel here. Let's look at some stuff that I use to keep myself sane. So I use Quick Parts a lot. I love it. Quick Parts is pre-stored phrases or paragraphs. If you find yourself typing the same directions to somebody, I know recruiters that use this for candidates. So if they have to decline a candidate, they don't retype the same thing every time. Quick Parts is great for storing phrases to save time. So here is how it works. Let's say that I type this phrase all the time. I appreciate your quick response. Okay, this is something I type all the time. If I highlight it and click on quick parts in the top ribbon, I can save it as a frequently used phrase. Then when I start typing that phrase, Outlook makes that connection. Or I can just insert the phrase. So let me show you that again. You can highlight a phrase, you can highlight a paragraph, and then you choose quick parts from the top toolbar, save selection, and there it is. So if you start typing, Outlook realizes, or you click on quick parts and say, I want to insert this. So again, one of the main ways I've seen this used is by recruiters. So they have different quick parts for thank you for applying, but we've chosen another candidate, or we'd like to move forward in the process. This can be really helpful. I use quick parts a lot in certain times of the year. I run performance review processes at my day job. And so in certain times of the year, I find myself saying the exact same things to people who email me with questions. And so I will save quick parts for those responses. I love quick parts. I think that it is an easy way to save yourself a second or two when you send a lot of the same kinds of emails. The next sanity saver for me is moving emails to meeting invites. I was blindsided when I realized you could do this. Somebody taught it to me probably about a year and a half ago. So you can turn an email into a calendar invite so that you get it out of your inbox and into the invite where you really need it. So take a look at this. Here's this very important email that I have typed to myself. And let's see if it'll do it. Oh, here we go. Well, let's see. I think I might have messed up there because it looks like I've put a picture in front of the video and it's not going to show it. Let's try it this way, everybody. Let's see. Let's try this one. Okay, that's the one I want. Thanks for your patience there. It looks like I put two videos in the same one and didn't catch that. Okay, so here we go. So important email for an important meeting. So here's my important email. So I can copy and paste that email into a new appointment. Okay, so I can copy and paste it, and then I would delete that email from my inbox. So that was just a right click, and so now now it's deleted from my inbox. Let's see, I'm going to Control Z and get that other. Let's see if this one shows you a better way. All right, it looks like it might start moving here in just a minute. Here we go. All right. Well, that didn't show you either. You know what, everybody? I am so sorry. It looks like maybe I didn't get my videos right for this slide. So, okay, so I'm just going to verbally mention this, and then please go to you can Google it and get the actual steps, since I apparently blacked out and didn't make this slide what it needed to be. So you can right click on on an email and choose copy and open any, yep, thank you, Nick. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. And then open any email, any calendar invite and paste it into an existing invite. But the way that you turn an email into its own calendar invite is you click and drag it to the calendar icon on Outlook. So if you click the email and you just drag it straight down to the calendar, then it turns the email instantly from an email into a calendar invite. and then you can choose to add people, you can change the date, etc. That's where my video messed up, because you didn't see that click and drag. You just saw, and it probably looked confusing, the email turn into the invite. If you think that this is an interesting concept, then please just type into Google, turn an email into a meeting invite, and you'll get plenty of information. Sorry about that one, everybody. Let's go to the, oh my gosh, did I outsmart myself and actually do it? No, let's see. Okay, yep. So I screwed that one up, and I'm sorry about that. But hopefully you you got what you needed there. Moving emails to you at least got the idea of moving emails to meeting invites. Okay, so let's finish up with my quick hits, because I wanted to leave some time for questions. These are 3 other things that I love. The first one is the search bar. So I put all of my emails into archive or delete. So archive is just a folder that already exists in your folders on the left side of your Outlook screen. And it's basically just where you can put things that you don't want to be deleted, but you're not exactly sure what to do with them. I throw a lot of things in archive, and I throw a lot of things in delete, which in my company, nothing is permanently deleted. So my deletes just stay there. At your company, they may have a record retention policy that says every 30 days they empty your deletes. But archive is just a folder that keeps anything that you don't want stored in your inbox. Because I use archive and delete so much, the search bar is really helpful for me. So I'll go into my archive folder, or I'll go into my deletes folder, and I'll type in the subject or the person. So instead of just sorting by person, which I see a lot of people do and it takes way too long, I might type in from : Tess, subject : workday. The search bar is very, very helpful. I search my sent messages too sometimes in order to find a certain email. So, so search bar is one of my favorite productivity tools. The next one is quick steps. So we talked about the quick parts. Quick steps is different. So when you've got an email, when you've got your email inbox open, Quick Steps is in that top toolbar. And it is a one-click command for an email. So if I'm reading an email from Jill, instead of taking the extra second that it would take to click and drag an email to the Jill folder, I can just, while that email is highlighted, click Jill in my quick steps, and I've saved myself like half a second. So these are my, the 2 quick steps that I use the most are Jill and team email. But then you can customize this. The ones on the left, inbox and to manager and done, are actually just provided by Outlook. Those are just the default ones that are there. But you might find yourself with a bunch of quick steps, because it's one click versus 1 or 2 clicks, or a click and drag, etc. So quick steps are very helpful for me. And then the last quick hit are message arrival alerts. So a message arrival alert is that Outlook alert that shows up on your screen while you're trying to work. If you have some good personal rules and you've got a lot of self-control, and you can bypass the anxiety when you see it and you want to answer that email right away, then you don't need to turn your message arrival alerts off. Sometimes I can do that and sometimes I can't. When I really need to be in the zone and I don't want anybody to bother me and the world is not going to end if I don't check my email, I go into my email options and I turn off my message arrival alerts. So see this section on this screen, it's kind of small, but it says message arrival, play a sound, change the mouse pointer, display a desktop alert. Desktop alert is what you want. So when that is checked, you get the alert on the bottom of your screen. When it's not checked, you don't get the alert. And that is a huge productivity saver, because it releases the urge to answer an email. It doesn't distract you for the 3 seconds where your eyes dart down to the right to read the email, right? And then you have to, okay, what was I thinking about again? And then we've lost 10 seconds. But if we do that 100 times, then we've lost, minutes of productivity just because of the email alert. So those are my favorite 3 quick hits that I am constantly using throughout the day. All right, so I wanted to give some time for Q&A. I also wanted to share that if you have questions after this webinar, you can absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Tess Osman, or you can connect with me via my website, cltleads.com, in order to get some more questions answered. Um, Restate 3 quick tips, please, and also what did you say quick steps are? So, okay, let me go back. Um, so my first quick hit is the search bar, and in the search bar I talked about also delete folder versus archive folder. And archive is just like it's like your own personal clutter folder where you don't want to delete something, but you don't want to keep it in your inbox, so you throw it in the archive folder. It already exists. Outlook has already made that folder for you. And so then I use the search bar, and my favorite is to search from :name and then from :subject. So I do name and subject at the same time. Search bar doesn't search every folder at the same time, so you can't just search and then expect it to ping every folder you've created. That's why most of my emails I archive or delete, and it makes it easier to search. Because in this day and age, when you delete something, it's not really deleted, so it's okay to get it out of your inbox, because that just increases your productivity. Quick steps are one-click commands for emails. So if you find yourself always moving certain emails to certain folders, that click and drag, you can save yourself an extra half a second by just having a quick step for it. You might also, instead of clicking compose new message and then choosing the distribution list, you might have one like I do that says team email. So when I click that, it already has everybody's email addresses populated on my team. So I don't have to keep adding them. That saves me a good 5 to 10 seconds. If I send, 30 team emails a month, I'm saving chunks of time right there. So quick steps are really helpful. So if you don't see quick steps or quick parts in your ribbon, just Google. It might be a feature, like an option that Outlook just hasn't put on the ribbon, but it's in there. You just have to activate it or select it. So keep that in mind as well. We talked about moving. Oh yeah, someone did. I do know this tip. I didn't share it. Do your folders automatically show in the quick steps? No, you have to make them. Here's the tip that I did know and didn't share. You can move an email into your calendar, and it's like moving it to a folder. Yep, if you click an email and drag it to your calendar, then that automatically turns the email into an invite. I think the bottom line here is if you are not putting emails into calendar invites, then you are missing out in life, because you're getting out of your inbox, you're saving yourself time from having to look up the email when that meeting comes. So jump on that train. I'm sorry I didn't explain it well enough. Quick steps is in that top tool ribbon. Do your folders? Already answered that one. Can you go over archiving? So archiving is, I don't even like this name. I called it archiving because Outlook calls it archiving. It's a folder. Let me see, let me go back and I'll show you. Let's see if it shows up in mine. It may or may not. So these are my folders over here on the right. So these are my folders in Outlook, and I think it's probably going to be below the sent one. It already exists, and it's just called an archive folder. That's a terrible name for the folder. Basically, it's like your own personal clutter folder. Hey, I got this email. I don't want it to sit in my inbox. I've read it. I've taken action on it, and I don't want to delete it because I'm afraid that will be emptied by my company. So you just throw it in the archive box. Outlook has named it that. I'm trying to see. I thought that I had it come up somewhere else too. Yeah, so it's not over here either. Okay, let's see. Where is Quick Steps? So Quick Steps should be in that ribbon in Outlook, that top ribbon under View. Excuse me, it should just be under the main ribbon. Can you move a whole thread to a folder so that the in and out messages are moved at the same time? You should. You can move, I mean, the whole thread, if it's in the email, goes to the folder, but you can also move multiple emails to a folder just by clicking on an email, holding down Shift and clicking on the next one, or Control click. So if you hold down Shift and click on 2 emails, it will highlight those emails plus everything in between, and control will just highlight 1 email at a time. Then you can do one bulk, move everything to a folder. I do that a lot. My deleted items folder only contains the last 30 days of deleted items. Yes, so this is probably from your company, and this is why you would use the archive folder. So an email that you don't need to keep for more than 30 days, you can delete it. But if you're not sure if you're going to need it more than 30 days, then don't let it stay in your inbox. Put it into that archive folder, and it stays there forever. It's just an extra folder. You can name it personal clutter, work clutter, clutter number 2. Like, you can name it anything. It's just like that extra folder. Nobody is going to see the questions. I'm the only one who sees the Q&A panel. That's just an instructor piece. You're probably seeing the chat, and some people are throwing questions in chat, so I'm trying to answer both. So the archive folder is not the same as archiving your email to make more room in your inbox. It is the same. That is the same. Will the recording be sent out? Yes, I don't know when. Usually they do it like within the next day or 2, maybe next week. Let's see. I think that that's it for questions. Are quick parts not available in Outlook 2013? They should be. I'm using Outlook 2016, but they should be available. How do you set up quick parts? I think that they just appeared in my Outlook. So if they're not in yours, I would just, here, let's just do this real quick, everybody, before we have like 30 seconds left. So I'm just going to Google set up quick parts in Outlook. There you go. So there's your text right there. So you just Google set up quick parts in Outlook, and then turn Outlook email into calendar event. Create an appointment from an email. So here you go. Oh, this is probably good. Support.office.com. That one's probably the best one. So for the calendar one, I saw a question come in about that. These are great questions. I think this is more than I've ever gotten, because we are bumping right up to 1 o'clock. So thanks, everybody. I hope that I was able to share some helpful pieces about email mindset and how you can use Outlook to increase your productivity. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn if you have more questions, or visit my website. But I hope you found some useful things today. And if you celebrate Thanksgiving like we do here in the U.S., if you're in the U.S., happy early Thanksgiving to everybody. So thanks so much. Have a great afternoon or evening.